Hi everybody, welcome back to Hunting in South Dakota with Daryl. I'm Kurt Johnson. We're back this morning in the same field we were in last night on a brisk, windy fall day in northeastern South Dakota. It's the next day after a day of hunting white-fronted geese, a day where the sights were nothing less than spectacular, and a day that ended with Daryl getting the biggest goose of his entire hunting life. Right now, let's join Randy Johnson, Daryl's son. He's going to explain what we're up to today as we prepare to venture into episode 4 tomorrow morning.
Out here in the field straight west of Willow Lake. We hunted this field last night. We got a white front and two giant honkers. So we're going to give it a try again this morning. Hopefully we'll have some luck. That honker that we shot last night, the big one, was 14.8. So that's a nice honker. Beautiful honker.
Take him, guys.
We're pretty sure we got a 15-pounder here.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a nice
She's
goose.
a big geese. 5 minutes before shooting time, we got lucky. They came right into the decoys.
Lift that one right there up.
In the middle.
There you go. There you go.
That's a big goose. We're gonna get that weighed tonight.
I'm sure one's 15 pounds. That's the biggest goose we've ever shot.
We're gonna get it weighed.
You bet.
Okay, we'll get him weighed. We'll let you know in the next episode.
Okay, baby.
The next episode is tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow
All right.
morning. There we go
Yeah.
again. Okay, we got Daryl Johnson with us, Randy Johnson, Mike Corbel, and Kurt taking the pictures. So we're gonna have a good hunt.
I wanted to bring you back to the same spot we were at last night. Last night we saw some of the most spectacular sights. It's almost unbelievable what we saw last night. Daryl has been hunting in these fields for probably 65 years, and his words were he's never seen anything like it. Got some white fronts coming in all of a sudden. So we're gonna get down.
Now, to be honest, we really didn't expect the white fronts that had flown in by the hundreds the day before to return to this field the following morning. This goose is known to be very particular about the fields that they fly into, and because we had just been in this field last night, it just seemed very unlikely that they would return, at least not in the same numbers that they had the night before. But we knew that this field had also been good for our favorite hunting target, the giant Canadian honker. So we thought we'd give it another go.
Let me tell you a little story about the white fronts. The honker population is increased significantly throughout the last 15 years because of the efforts of game fishing parks and a lot of the landowners. Snow geese population has increased significantly, and the limit on both those geese is honkers 15 in the early season, and right now it's 3. It used to be 1. Snow goose population has increased so much there almost is no limit, but I think the limit is, I believe it's 20 per day with no possession limit. The white front is a little different story. Population of the white fronts has not increased, and the limit on the white fronts has been 1 goose per person per day, and with a possession limit of 2. That makes it our sights of the white fronts that we have seen all the more significant because we've seen thousands of them, and we have shot 4 of them in the last couple days. If you talk to most hunters, they'll tell you, have you ever gotten a white front? I've gotten 1 in my whole life, baby. Oh yeah, here we go. Looks like we have some, I'm guessing Canadian honkers, flying low like Canadian honkers. Right now they're headed right at us.
Coming up, see some of the amazing works Daryl now produces in his retirement. And later, we'll take a short visit with Frank and watch how accurate he is with his shotgun. And some say he's even a better shot when he has shells in his shotgun. For Daryl and his wife Juanita, family has always come first for them. For Juanita, it has been primarily providing and caring for their 9 children. She's been an astounding, loving, caring mom her entire life. For Daryl, it has meant providing for his family by working as a building contractor his entire life. His works include this beautiful church and over 400 homes in his beloved community of Watertown, South Dakota. In the beginning of his retirement, he began a new passion, which started with carving ducks and songbirds. He eventually started his own workshop teaching others to carve ducks. This is the very first duck that Daryl ever carved. It's 1/3 size. He calls it his experimental duck. Since then, he has carved over 100 ducks and at least that many songbirds, of which he has given most away to his family. Eventually, he came up with the idea of creating wildlife calls. Using a lathe to make these, he started by collecting branches as he walked along the riverside near his home. He has used walnut, Russian olive, and Osage orange branches, to name a few, and he turned these branches into workable, but mostly ornamental, wildlife calls. My favorite of all the things he has carved is his pheasant call. Shown here by professional model Juanita Johnson, this is a truly beautiful piece of work with an interesting story. Daryl had found a small part of a diamond willow tree that he thought he could possibly make into something ornamental. After putting it on a lathe, he thought there might just be too many knots and crevices in the wood, and he threw it away. Later, his wife happened to find it by walking by a trash container. She pulled it out of the trash container and told Daryl, "You're not throwing this piece of wood away." Well, the rest of this story is history. He turned this defective piece of wood into a masterpiece, in my opinion, and it even works. He then took up the idea of making walking sticks or canes. He laminates pieces of wood together so he can make them with curved handles. And he uses small pieces of leftover wood to make his beautiful two-toned canes. One of the things Daryl likes to do with his candy canes, as he calls them, is to give them to people who need them. He says there is nothing like the feeling of creating something with his own hands and seeing the smile on someone's face when he hands it to them free of charge. His latest venture is making crosses for table settings. So far, he has donated over 30 of them to his church, church members, and of course, his family. Now retired, he says making these projects keeps him occupied, and don't forget how he loves giving his projects to people, and says his projects are worth much more to see someone smile as they accept the beautiful item he has made for them with his own 2 hands. We're going to get you back to the Canadian honkers coming into the decoys in just a moment. But first, let's spend just a few moments with Daryl Johnson's youngest son, Frank, or Frankie as we like to call him. Frankie is a great shot, especially when his gun is loaded.
One thing I really regret in my life was for about 4 years, I actually stopped hunting. And for whatever reason it was, I can't even explain that. But I remember one night, a good friend of mine, Brian Kaiser, called me and he said, him and his dad, my dad, went out hunting and they had just a fabulous time. They really got into the geese. And I can't go tomorrow, Frank, and your dad really wants to go. But you know, he's getting close to 80 years old now and he can't see very well to drive himself. So we had about 60 miles to go for this field that they were in, and I thought to myself, take your dad hunting. So I decided I'll get up in the morning, take Dad hunting. Didn't have a license, didn't have a gun, wasn't worried about shooting a goose, but I wanted to take my dad hunting. And ever since that day, I got back into hunting, and you know, the memories came back. I just love it now, and we're having such a wonderful time doing this. And never again will I quit going out, and I hope I get a lot more years hunting with my dad, Daryl. And now we do filming and stuff for our goose hunts and with family and friends. And my gosh, am I so inspired by doing this again and hunting again. Hunting in South Dakota is incredible, and I'll never stop doing it.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Don't miss the conclusion of this great opportunity at some giant Canadian honkers. And next time on Hunting in South Dakota with Daryl, we take a break from hunting to go fishing at Secret Lake. As Frank Johnson, Daryl's youngest son, renewed his passion for hunting after a short hiatus from the sport, he has frequently missed out on some of the hunts when the camera was around because of his busy work schedule.
There you go.
So Frank decided to strap a camera on his own head and give it a try. And he has managed to get some pretty awesome footage. Now Frank is an excellent shot, and he's even a better shot when he puts shells in his shotgun.
There, I got one. Yeah. Got it. What the?
And of course, there are other things that can go wrong when you're filming with a camera mounted to your head. But all in all, a terrific job and great shooting by Frankie. And we're going to see a lot more of Frankie in episodes to come. Oh, they're coming right at us. Oh my. Look at this. Although not immediately obvious, these guys managed to pull 3 nice giant honkers out of their first flock of the day.
Oh man, that's pretty.
Then they strapped in for a lone white front that was circling our decoys. Now flying with the wind, this white front was a tough target. But one of these guys makes a terrific shot on this fast-moving white front. Woo!
Don't go away.
Daryl pulls out a nice shot on this giant Canadian honker, which was just at a distance that he could manage to get one.
This morning has been absolutely fabulous so far. We've gotten 5 geese, we got 4 honkers, and a couple of them might be over 13 pounds, we think. And we have 1 white front. Well, believe it or not, our white fronts are, looks like they might show up again. See them way off the distance. Get a shot of them there. There they are. It may very well be white fronts. Part of the big flock of
Well, the white fronts, other than a few lone stragglers, as we expected, did not come back to this field this particular day.
Get in there.
Wow, this is a big goose.
That's a big one there.
Nice. Yeah, that's the biggest one.
Better
Hold on, goose there,
You
right?
got
I got you. Talk it up a little bit.
that.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in the decoys. Beautiful.
We're gonna go check that field over there for Frank tomorrow, maybe.
You
Okay.
gonna come down, huh?
I suppose. I'm not gonna answer the phone though.
Great out, guys. That was fun.
Very nice. You guys pulled off some nice shots today. That was very nice.
As we recap our shots for this episode and see the game we took home with us those days, we remember it's not just about harvesting geese. Daryl would tell anyone, including those hunting beside him, as he has always told his children when teaching them to hunt. Always respect the land you hunt on. Leave it like you found it. Respect the landowners that allow you to hunt their land, keeping in mind that this land is their welfare. Respect the gun you have in your hands and hunt safely. And hunt only with those who think and act exactly the same. Most importantly, remember to respect the wildlife you are hunting by always following the legal limits and guidelines set by the phenomenal South Dakota Department of Game Fish and Parks. And last but certainly not least, enjoy the sights and the camaraderie around you. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time on Hunting in South Dakota with Daryl.